Hey everyone, today we are going to create these for type of infographics animation in After Effects, without using any third-party plugin. So, let's see how to make this. Alright, so right now, I'm in After Effects. First, let's create a base. So for that, let's select the rounded rectangle tool. Just click and draw. And now, we can search for size. Under the size, I'm going to quickly change this so that we have this box. Let's search for roundness to make the corner roundness, and I'm going to set this to 50. Now, we can easily align it in the center. Now we can select this. Let's apply drop shadow, so that we have a really nice elevated surface. Let's increase the softness, and just increase the distance as well. You can play around with the opacity. There you go. Now we have our base. We are ready to add our lines. So first, we want some like horizontal lines. So for that, you can just simply click, hold on the Shift key, and just click over here. Now we have this line. Select this, and we only want to have stroke. So we can just increase it a little bit. Let's align it in the center as well. Now we want to have like multiple lines. But for that, we can easily go inside Add, go to Repeater. And from here, if I open the Transform property, we have the X value. We can set this to 0. Let's increase the Y values. So here, you can see we have these lines. Now just increase the number of copies. So I'm going to set this to 14. This looks good. Now we can select this. Press T. Let's lower it down. So we have our base lines. Now let's add our main line, which is going to be animated. So for that, just simply click, and just draw a random shape for a curve, or graph, that is moving upwards. We can increase the size of this line. And also, let's change its color. There you go. So here, you can see we have this very nice curve. Now we can stylize this as well, by adding the drop shadow effect. Now we can animate it by going inside. Go to Add. Let's add a trim path. Let's open this up. We have this end property. Let's add a keyframe. And let's go to the very beginning, and we can set this to 0. Now, if I press play, you can see we have this line. Now make sure that this fill is also set to none. We can select these keyframes. Press F9. Let's go to the graph editor. Now over here, we can change the curves to look something like that. Now we have this very nice line, with some nice drop shadow as well. Now our next step is to add a slider counter. So for that, we can select the text tool. Now just click, and just type whatever number you want.
Now we can select this, and in order to animate it, we can apply a slider controller. Let's drag it onto this. Now in order to animate this counter, what we can do is we can select this. Let's open up the text. Now you can hold on the Alt key, click on this stopwatch, and if I pick whip and just select this slider controller, if I let it go, you can see now we can easily control it by using this slider. But the problem with this is that if I add a keyframe, and if I try to animate it, let's animate it to somewhere around here. Now you can see we are also getting these many decimal places, which is not what we want. So now, to fix this, what we can do is we can select this layer, plus U. And where we have this expression, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add math, then dot round. We have this function now. Now under the curly braces, I'm going to circular braces, I'm going to place this. So now what it will do is it will give us this whole number. We can just align it over here. Now if I press play, you can see our numbers will be like whole numbers. Now what if you want to have like percentage or some other symbol, like right after this? So let's type s equals to. So we're basically creating a string s. And now what we can do is we can add any character we want with the string. So all you have to do is string plus, then under the inverted commas, you can type whatever character you want. If I press play, you can see it won't change. But the number which is in front of it will always change. So in the same way, you can like add whatever values you want. Now this is how you can create these kind of line infographics in After Effects. Now let's continue. Now let's see how you can make these bar charts.
First let's create a base. So for that, let's select the rounded rectangle tool. Just click and draw. Let's search for roundness to make the corner roundness.
And on top of this, we basically want to have some bars coming up. So for that, we can select this rounded rectangle tool. Let's set the stroke to 0, and color we can set this to black for now. Now just simply click and drag, till you have something that you like. So I think this looks good. Again, we can play around with the roundness, to however you want. Now, you can see we have this curve. So let's select this, press Ctrl D. And now select the bottom layer, and I'm going to change this track matte to this layer. So now, if I select this bottom layer, press P. Let's add a keyframe. Let's move it like little bit ahead. And in the beginning, I can just move it down below. Now, if I press play, you can see we have this bar curve like rising up. Now you can select these, press F9. And just go to the graph, and I'm going to change it to look like that. There you go. Now we have our first bar graph. Now if you want to add more, then you can select this. Press Ctrl D. Let's move this to the top. Now select the bottom layer, and just make sure that its track matte is set to this layer. Let's select this. Press U, select both the keyframes, and this layer as well. Now we can just move it to this side. Now you can load down its value, by simply moving to whatever size you want. So now this graph will be animated only to this height. So you can repeat this step, and just duplicate them, and just placing them like that, and just placing them right next to each other. And you can also add some really nice colors to them.